Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Kind of just a surprise video here because the Canadiens have acquired Phillip Danault from the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for a 2026 second round pick. And I feel like this was kind of a noteworthy thing. Obviously, Phillip Danault was a part of that, was a part of the Canadiens for a number of years, and notably was on that Stanley Cup final run team back in 2021. So it's kind of a cool thing to see him come back to the team, and I think definitely a good trade for the Canadiens, in my opinion, anyway. I know that there was some rumors, some talk going around that the LA Kings were looking for Jake Evans or maybe even Owen Beck in exchange for Phillip Danault, but we ended up getting away with just a second round pick there. I believe it is our own second round pick and not the Winnipeg Jets second round pick that we got from. I think it was, or maybe it was the Columbus Blue Jackets second round pick. I'm not sure which one we have. Either way, from getting Patrick Laine back last summer. So either way, I mean, it's not like, especially at this point in our rebuild or wherever we are in our process towards being a contending team, I don't really feel like a second round pick is a make or break kind of thing right now. So I feel like it's a pretty good bet, a pretty solid bet to go after a guy that obviously is familiar with the team. Obviously, a lot of things have changed since Phillip Danault left, but some familiar faces as well. Obviously, Jake Evans and Caulfield, Suzuki, all of those guys who are still around. Josh Anderson, so definitely some new faces for him, but also some familiar faces. And I feel like as fans, obviously he's a familiar face, and we know what he brings to the ice. Looking at his stats for this year, not necessarily amazing, but we know kind of like where he's been at with this team in LA. Like, it hasn't necessarily been fantastic for him. I know he hasn't really wanted to be there. He's kind of just been like put out, it seems like, with the LA organization. He only has 5 assists on the year, 0 goals on the season. So maybe we can kind of turn things around there. For him, obviously, he kind of hovers around in his career around the 40 to 50 point mark. Like the last couple seasons, getting 50 in like mid to low 40s with the LA Kings in the 3 years that he's been there, 4 years that he's been there. So yeah, like it'll be interesting to see if we can kind of turn things around. Obviously, we have a team who can play a lot of offense when we're actually in the offensive zone. And I think the thing that I like most about this trade and what we get out of this is the fact that Phillip Danault is a very solid player in his own zone. He only has 5 assists on the season, but he is a +3 overall, so he's definitely not in the negatives or anything like that. And we know what he can do on the penalty kill, face-offs, all that kind of stuff. Very responsible in his own zone. And I think, if we look at, what I've been saying over the past few days about how our team plays, I think having some more stability, especially from the forward lineup in our own zone, is definitely something that we shouldn't really shy away from, because, as I'm saying, like that's something that we've definitely been struggling with as of late, getting the puck out of our own zone, winning face-offs, all that kind of stuff. Now, the penalty kill hasn't been too bad, but it hasn't been great either, and that's partially due to just taking a lot of penalties. But either way, I feel like for that reason alone, just his play in in our own zone, I think that's a really good pickup. Obviously, he'll have some existing chemistry with some guys, and maybe he can even get his offensive game buzzing a little bit, depending on where he slots into the lineup. I think it'd be interesting to see if they put him in that second center slot, or if they want to break up that top 6 that we have going on right now with Slavkovsky and Demidov and Kapanen. Be interesting to see if Kapanen slides down and we put Danault in the center with Demidov and Slav, or even Demidov and Bolduc or something like that. So it definitely opens up a lot of options. It'll be interesting to see what Phillip Danault wants to do and what Martin St. Louis wants to do with him. But I think regardless of where he slots into the lineup, he's a very key player here that can really help us out in our own zone. So I think that Habs fans in general should be pretty happy about this, not just because it's obviously a familiar face coming back. We got the Pizza Man back in town, obviously, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think I like what he brings to this team, and I think that it can definitely bolster our lineup a little bit in the defensive zone. And then yeah, like we'll see what happens with the offense. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of to break down that a little bit. I think generally speaking, it's a win because we didn't have to give up Jake Evans, and now obviously Jake Evans and Phillip Danault are both centermen, but this trade kind of gives us the flexibility to maybe play Phillip Danault and Evans on the same kill, or maybe have 1 and 2 there, and that really helps our penalty kill out a little bit. Obviously, going back to before the season started, we talked a lot about how losing Christian Dvorak and Yoel Armia was really going to hurt our penalty kill a little bit. So I feel like having this addition to the team and not giving up any players for it is really going to help in that department. And yeah, like I think generally speaking, I think it's a good trade. I think it's good to not break up the team at all, really, like not having to give up anything, prospects or otherwise. And I think, especially considering the fact we still have a second round selection in this draft anyway, it was a pretty safe bet. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that the LA Kings went for it. I know, like, obviously, like the rumors were that they wanted a player of similar caliber back the other way. They ended up taking just a pick instead. So I'm kind of surprised that went through on their end, but I think we'll definitely take what we can get in that department. I think generally speaking, I'm excited to see him get back on the ice, get back to wearing the blue, blanc, and rouge. I think that'll be exciting. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys on this one. I think it's a great trade. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments what you think about the trade, and if you would have taken it, or maybe given them something else or whatever, or if there was somebody else you should have targeted. And also let me know what you think going forward, what Kent Hugues should be doing or should be looking at from other teams to bolster this lineup. Like what's kind of the biggest weakness? Are we still looking for a 2C? I think so. I think Phillip Danault is definitely a great player in his own regard, but I don't think he's necessarily the answer to our 2C issues. So it'll be interesting to see, like, if we take a look at some of Buffalo's players, or maybe even Toronto is not necessarily doing very well right now. So it'll be interesting to see if they want to give up any of their top guys, or there's certainly a lot of options there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here on out. Obviously, Phillip Danault takes up $5.5 million in cap space for this year and next. He's on 2 years at that $5.5 million. So that definitely eats into our cap space a little bit. But getting rid of Carey Price, obviously, before the season started, as well as just being generally well managed in terms of our cap space, gives us the flexibility to make some moves if we'd like to. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there going forward. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments here. That's pretty much all I have for this one. So yeah, that's all I have for you, and I will see you guys after the game against Pittsburgh on Saturday.